Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Urania Heart Metaphysics. I am here to share my weekly insights on the energy that we are experiencing currently and what is possibly ahead. I am recording this on April 27th of 2026. And this past weekend, I will say, was major as Uranus made its transition from Taurus into Gemini, and we'll move through Gemini for 7 years. So this is a really, really big deal. So I want to touch on this energy briefly. And of course, it will evolve and there'll be more to share on this as time progresses. I also want to share what I sense is coming in for Taurus season, as we are officially in Taurus season as of last week as well. And also, we have a full moon coming this week, which I will likely not touch on that mainly here. I will share another video a little bit later this week where I focus specifically on the Scorpio full moon, and it is the same day as Beltane. So the Scorpio full moon is on May 1st. Beltane is May 1st. So I think this is going to be a really potent week, to be honest, as I've been saying, other people have been saying the veil has been thinning. And it's really interesting that Beltane here in the Northern Hemisphere is the opposite part or opposite point on the wheel of the year of Samhain, aka Halloween. And Halloween is in, the midst of Scorpio season. And so something is coming through already as I tune into this energy, and I'm getting chills. So it's definitely going to be a very potent full moon. And this week is going to be very important. And so stay tuned for the video that I'll share a little bit later, specifically on this full moon and Beltane. But before I get into the shares for this video, I just want to mention two quick announcements. This week on May 3rd, I'm going to be teaching, or not teaching, but facilitating a community dream circle via Ritual Craft School. So it's online, and this is a place where you come with your questions, come with your dreams. We sit in a safe space and share what we've been experiencing. I'll talk a little bit about the energetic climate, I'm sure, a little bit about the astrology, how that can impact your dream space, and it will just naturally, organically flow from there. So if you are interested in wanting to join me, again, it's on May 3rd. The link is going to be in the description of this video. The second announcement I want to share is that this is the last week you can sign up for the Starseed Activation Journey that I'm facilitating with Jackie B. And this journey is a 12-week experience. There's a lot to it, and I will also leave the link in the description of this video so you can check out all the details, all the information. I also have a video playlist here on my YouTube channel regarding starseed exploration, the different starseed groups, how your astrology can also identify or illuminate possible connections with specific galactic soul groups. And we also have a few lives in there where we touched on important topics like how to honor your humanity, and how to know you are being called by your galactic soul family, and so forth. So there's a lot of videos, short videos there about starseed exploration if you're curious. And if that really inspires you, feel free to check out my website and see about the starseed activation journey. Again, the last day to enroll is May 4th. All right, so let's get into the energy that I'm tuning into this week. And so, as I mentioned, we're officially in Taurus season. The sun entered Taurus on April 19th. So, like a little bit over a week ago. And what I really been tuning in for this energy, and it kind of came through my own experience, and I realized like it really settled in, it really landed as I began talking to clients and I've been doing several readings, as well as talking to a few peers of mine. And we noticed that, like, with that Aries energy, so that same weekend that the sun entered Taurus, just before that, like, I feel like literally the day before, there was the whole lineup in Aries, right? And that's when we had, like, shortly before that, we had the new moon in Aries. There was so much going on in Aries. And for the whole week there, I felt internally inspired, but I couldn't really take action. I just wanted to be in nature. I just wanted to just chill. but I felt inspired. And then finally, toward the day of the sun moved into Taurus, I was just doing all the things. Like it was like the exact opposite energy. And I was a little bit overwhelmed by everything that I was doing, but it was great. I checked off so many things on my to-do list. And once the next week started, which was this past week, so let's just say April 21st, which on Mondays I like to do my to-do list, and there's not honestly much to do. I mean, there's always things to do, but nothing pressing, nothing crazy. And over that weekend during the new moon, I had a really epic tarot reading for myself. And I also did readings for other people. And it's just this recurring theme of like being present in the moment and receiving. And for me, I kept getting receiving the Empress. And then so the card reading that I did for myself the week of beginning last week, that was the main theme as well. But it was like the central card was the Nine of Pentacles. And I also had a dream that kind of tied into these themes as well. And in the midst of literally talking to a client in that moment, I realized that, okay, we are in the receiving mode. I'm in the receiving mode. Like we've done so much. We've been doing a lot, right? We've been setting intentions. We've been doing the work. And now we're in the place of receiving. And I realized that that's really hard for me, right? And when you think about the Empress, I do see the Empress as holding, and I mean the Empress as far as the tarot, right? Right. Like I specifically am thinking about Rider-Waite-Smith because, that's the deck that I use all the time. And so the Empress to me holds both the masculine and feminine energy. She has a lot of power within her. She has this softness to her, like this graceful power. She's able to command essentially her desires and she magnetizes them to her. Like other people basically do it, right? And so, in the imagery of this card, and I should have the card here with me, she is sitting on a throne, or like, I don't know, she's just like laying about very gracefully in the middle of a forest, or maybe it's a meadow. There are trees behind her, there's running water, there's like plants, blooming flowers. And with the Empress, Venus is associated with her. And I feel this connection with Taurus, specifically this Taurus season, as Venus is the planetary ruler of Taurus. And Taurus has this sensual aspect to it and this stillness in a way. And with Taurus, it is, there is a focus on security and on resources, on worth and worthiness. And when I tune into the Empress, she does feel, I feel that sense of worth. Like she has a strong sense of worth and she's able to even express her beauty, her worth, her abundance in like an easeful way. And so honestly, that's what I'm getting for Taurus season. We've done so much with the Aries energy. I mean, Mars is still in Aries. I believe Mercury is also still in Aries. And so with that said, there's still a lot of energy focused on that initiation, but now we're shifting our perspective to really anchoring in the foundation and the stability and security within ourselves and knowing our worth, right? And so, as I also mentioned, Uranus moved into Gemini. So it was initially in Taurus, and it has been in Taurus, or it was in Taurus for 7 years, right? Since 2018. And so reflect on your life from 2018 to 2026 and think about your relationship, your sense of worth to resources, security, money, pleasure, whatever it is that you value. How do you feel? Do you feel like you've transformed that sense of worth? Or yeah, just kind of thinking about the nature of how you relate to your resources, your worth. So asking, for help, or if most of us work, right? So when it comes to receiving more financial abundance, do you feel worthy about asking for more money? Like, where are you in the sense of Taurus? And if you know your birth chart, you can also look into that too and take in consideration of the area of life that Taurus rules, because that essence of worthiness, that essence of personal security is going to have a major impact on that area of life. It's important for me to explain or just share Uranus's expression, its intention, as far as like a planetary energy within our lives. And so Uranus is the planet that desires to liberate a system, right? So it wants to disrupt stagnant energy, break that apart, get things moving, and just liberate any old beliefs, old patterns, and so forth, and just create a new dynamic within, whatever it's moving through, right? So it wants to innovate, it wants to transform, it wants to liberate. And Uranus is also within the perspective of esoteric astrology, it's considered to be the higher octave of Mercury. And so there's an aspect that Uranus is connected to the higher mind, higher intelligence. And it's the way it even disrupts, because it is very disruptive. It's like lightning. It's like very fast. It's like when you think about downloads, aha moments, insights, that quick flashing type energy moving through you, that's Uranus energy, right? And it can be a stimulation to the mind, to our consciousness, right? And in that sense, being that it's so fast, like lightning speed, it can be disruptive. Uranus tends to always like catch us off guard, right? So it can be that sudden change, sudden shock to the system, but that is intentional so that it can really break away any energy that is just not of service to us anymore. So with Uranus moving through Taurus, it helped to liberate our any stagnant energy in reference to our sense of worth, reference to our relationship with resources. How well do we feel secure within ourselves and therefore in our environment, our relationship with money, our relationship with our resources, and so forth. And so now again, that chapter has ended. And so we are in the integration period as we're starting a new chapter with Uranus moving into Gemini. So again, take those qualities of Uranus, right, as far as the liberation of the mind, or the liberation, the disruption, to innovate, to transform, to liberate. So then add in that essence of the Gemini archetype, right? There's a focus on the mind. So just with thinking about Mercury being the planetary ruler of Gemini, and Uranus being the higher octave of Gemini in certain perspectives, we can see the shift, we can see the evolution of our state of being, our state of mind, where we are awakening to a higher source of intelligence individually and collectively. And this is going to be really interesting in a few weeks when when Mercury moves into Gemini. So we'll have Mercury and Uranus and Gemini at the same time. And as soon as Mercury enters Gemini, it's going to make that connection with Uranus. And that's going to be really interesting to see like what kind of sudden like ideas, or just like, just things that come up from the unconscious, and those ideas, those thoughts, and what comes up. And I feel like that'll be honestly a potent time that we will be able to get a little bit of an understanding, at least in this early phase of Uranus's transit through Gemini, how that's going to show up for us, what lessons are here, what beliefs and thoughts are, just not serving us anymore. So I feel naturally that's going to stimulate that part of our lives that Gemini rules, and whatever challenges we're having and liberating at that time early in this phase will come to life when Mercury enters Gemini. So that's going to be an exciting time, and that's going to be in a few weeks. So I'll definitely be touching on that. But with Uranus moving through Gemini, it is going to really disrupt and break away the narratives, the stories, the thought patterns that no longer serve us, that have been holding us back, that have been honestly keeping us in chains. So I also, connect to Uranus being the breaker of chains, right? So if we think about being restricted, and in this case, restricted within our consciousness, specifically our the thought patterns and the narratives, right? which stem from our belief. And so in order for a belief to really root itself within our consciousness, it has to tell stories, right? And so we all have the stories that we run through our mind very often. And a lot of the times they are not serving us, right? Because we change and we evolve, and but it's really hard to let go of those stories and those thought patterns. And so with Uranus moving through Gemini, it's going to help us really let go of what we've been really working through. So we can look at this transit as something that will be incredibly beneficial to us, in the long run. Like, this is really helpful. So we can lean into this energy, even though it may at times be really challenging. And being that we're working with the liberation of our conscious mind, that's naturally going to affect our nervous system. So it's really important, especially as we're in Taurus season, to lean into the support that we have, that what we've learned through Uranus's transit through Taurus, but then now we're also in Taurus season, feeling grounded, feeling secure, leaning on, or connecting with the people we feel safe with, safe and supported, um, you know, utilizing the resources that help us feel secure, whether it could be, activity, it could be, certain herbs, or getting more rest, or just like meditation, whatever it is. This is going to be really essential to create some sort of routine, or multiple routines, so you can be flexible within that. And this will help to balance or stabilize the nervous system as we experience these Uranus, transits. And again, I'm really sensing Mercury's entry into Gemini. That's going to be a really significant day. So let me get the date for you. So Mercury will enter Gemini May 17th. So that'll be just before Gemini season. So I forgot, like, Mercury's in Aries right now, so it has to move through Taurus, then Gemini. So we have a little bit of time. We have a couple weeks, and Mercury's moving really fast. And so, yeah, that's going to be a really, really exciting time. But nonetheless, we want to really start to gather our resources, and during Taurus season, strengthen our sense of personal security, really gather those resources, and ground ourselves basically, and stabilize that nervous system, and really tune into, that empress energy, that softness, that graceful power, and being able to be secure within yourself, be grounded, and know that, you have the capability to, um, you know, overcome or integrate whatever comes your way, basically. So one more thing I want to share on is with this Uranus transit, as it is always a 7-year transit, there seems to always be some sort of reveal, or, like, I mean, it makes sense, a major aha moment in the collective. And Uranus is the mind awakener in itself. It does expand consciousness, or in like the enlightenment process is what comes forth with Uranus. And so, as I'm making my notes for this transit, I'm really feeling that connection to the number 7, and the essence of the number 7th, which is connected to spiritual depth, divine mystery, and introspection. And I'm thinking about when Uranus entered Taurus in 2018. I don't know about you, but that was a pretty incredible year. And of course, it opened the chapter to so much like change within our lives, individually and collectively. But what I remember specifically is that there was a huge spiritual event happening that we termed the event. And at that time, I was opening myself up to channel, and I was working with a teacher, and she'd been speaking a lot about an event. Anyways, long story short, I believe it was when our planet, or our sun, aligned with the galactic center. Um, and that created some sort of like opening or portal that activated further DNA strands within the human conscious collective, and also it awakened our mind a bit, right? It all opened us up. There was a major shift, right, that happened. And so with the 7 year, it makes sense, as through that whole cycle, we dive deep into some sort of into the depths of our shadow, right? Or that stagnant energy, we go below that to illuminate the truth, right? The shadow, the truth, the dark, the light. And we have this grand awakening moment, aha moment, individually and collectively. And so what's really interesting, as I tune in more to my mentors recently, there's been a lot of talk, and it hasn't just been this year. I feel like I've been hearing it the past year and a half or so, right? But they've been talking about this window from 2026 to 2033 or 2032. And within this time frame, it's a very important time. We're talking about extraterrestrial open contact, just a shift in the things happening in the world, a shift in our planet and its frequency, which we've been feeling that already. But what's really coming through here, and I made notes on this like before I even started looking at the Uranus energy, and from a current mentor of mine, he spoke about this harmonic timeline. And this is specifically focused on a shift from scarcity to coherence, right? So a shift from lack to alignment. And what's really important is that it's our resonance that is going to generate energy to magnetize or acquire resources, right? Versus like, effort and work. And of course, we're still going to be doing the work, but it's going to be a little bit different, right? Like that, just like there's going to be basically enough resources and enough energy to go around, right? And so there are different phases of this shift. And please bear with me. I'm still integrating, still letting it settle in and land with me. But basically 2026 to 2032 is the first phase in which there will be a reconciliation of matter and meaning, which means, well, one of the ways that we'll see this come through is that the scientific community and the spiritual community will begin to merge language. Like, so they're going to be saying the same things, of course, in different ways, but it's like we're going to have the same goals. We're going to be speaking to the same energy, revealing the same truth and information, the insights, right? To help us then naturally, it's going to create technology that is more focused on the harmonics, right? Focused on resonance, which will then help us to acquire that energy without effort, right? So eventually, no more fighting over resources, as far as when it comes to money. Like, I can't say that money's not going to be a thing, but it's like it's going to become irrelevant. And one of the things this mentor has said often that really resonates with me is that it's not about eliminating, deleting, destroying a system, right, in order to bring about a new system. It's more of like creating the new system that is so efficient that the old system, the prior system, is irrelevant, right? And that's literally what we're doing. And so this is the unification of physics and consciousness. But I couldn't help but to think to focus in on the date of 2026 to 2032, right? And of course, like I said, this is a focus, like the first focus here is pertaining to the merging of language, right? It's like we're having these two different extremes, or we have these two different perspectives, like from the broader overview of spirituality and say science, and they're meeting in the middle. Like there's like we're tuning into that common element, right? And it can also be like the missing link, like both communities are finding that missing link, right? They're finding that connection point, like that missing thread or the golden thread, you can even say. And that literally is Gemini. Gemini loves tuning into all the perspectives and seeing how they're all connected. What's the missing link here? What's the connection? What's the connecting dots? How do we bridge these different ideas and create some sort of, it could be technology or whatever it is, but it's like connecting the different communities, connecting the different thoughts and ideas and creating from there, right? And so that timing really lines up with Uranus and Gemini's transit, as it's going to be moving through Gemini between 2026 and 2033. And actually in 2032, it'll dip into Cancer a little bit, and then it'll retrograde back into Gemini and do its whole thing. And then in 2033 is when it'll officially, enter Cancer and stay in Cancer. And this is what my mentor is calling the reactivation of the fifth spiral, which again is the unification of physics and consciousness. So this whole transformative shift here. So there's a focus on technology, and we're seeing that with AI and such. And there is a lot to be concerned about it, of course, especially our relation to the planet and our resources. And so there's going to be many ways to do this efficiently and to work with technology. So we'll see the return, supposedly we'll see the return of coherent technology. So coherent means that it's in harmonic alignment with natural law, universal law, right? It's in this divine alignment. We'll see harmonic devices, phase resonant engines, scalar field generators, consciousness encoded computation, which is like more of like a higher intelligence type AI and communications. And this really, bear with me, this really feels like when I tune into just extraterrestrial topics and my books and everything, and even my own meditation that I had back in 2018, where my teacher, like I said, I was learning to open my channel. And one of the activities was, she had us go into a deep meditation, and she encouraged us to, like, the focus in this specific meditation was to go to our sacred space, our safe space, and not even thinking about, like, she didn't tell us ahead of time. So it was like, okay, we're doing this activity and this is what we're doing in the moment, not giving us time to think. She's like, okay, don't think about it. We're just going to drop in and everything, but I want you to go to your safe space, And so she dropped us in, and my safe space was, I wrote in my journal that it was a hovercraft, or my audio journal. It was a hovercraft. It was a UFO. And when I went into, like, I entered it. So first I was in a forest and I saw the hovercraft, and this actually was in a forest. And well, I wouldn't even say it's a forest. It's in the Flatirons foothills in Boulder, Colorado, but it's like one of my favorite places. It's so magical. I have pictures of it. But anyways, that's where it started. And then I'm looking off in the distance and I see this hover ship, and I knew it was mine. And I entered in. There were 7 windows that corresponded to the 7 chakras. And like when I was in, it was all like Moroccan style with the little pillows and everything. And then at some point, I'm settling in, I'm exploring it, being present with it as guided. And at some point it was like, oh, like I am the ship, like it's connected to my consciousness, right? Like it's like I'm out of the ship, I'm like, I'm not the ship, but I am the ship. Like we're just telepathically connected. And this was before I heard anyone say anything about that, and I wasn't like deep diving into extraterrestrials. I was very surprised. I thought my safe space was going to be a temple, or I don't know, or a pyramid or something like that. And so with all that to say, later, here I am at the end of this Uranus and Taurus transit, deep diving into, cosmic identities, starseed exploration, all of that, connecting with extraterrestrials. And I realized that they have been talking about how these extraterrestrials are like telepathically connected to their ships. So that just, you can't make that up. And when my mentor was speaking about this, what was coming through, what was being channeled, as far as this shift in technology and within our consciousness and how we connect with the earth and how everything is like more resonant in that way and based on a frequency, and not like, oh, here's my $10 for this, right? That came to light where I was like, oh, this is what that is. So you really can't make that up. So I'm really excited. This is going to be an exciting time, and there's going to be some challenges, yes, but there's going to be some powerful awakening moments. And so I'm really excited to be on this journey with you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this video, please like the video. Please subscribe if you enjoy my content and you want to stay connected. Check out the links in the description about what's coming up right now that I'm working on and facilitating. And I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll be back with a video on the full moon and Beltane.